Hey you, how are you? Did you have a happy long weekend if you were in Canada? Not a big deal for you guys in the States this last weekend, but it is for us. I'm going to turn down my tunes. I had an adventurous day today, and I'm just going to wait a few minutes to get a few people on board here. A little adventure to small town Saskatchewan. A lot of people think it's kind of boring out there, but not me. I think small town Saskatchewan is very interesting, and there's a town not too far from me that I have been going to for, 21 years since I moved here, and that is Moosejaw, Saskatchewan. And this past weekend, I had a woman contact me. Thank you, Greg White, for that contact, because it was pure gold. I met a very astute couple today. A friend of mine and I drove out to Moosejaw, and we met up with a concerned couple because they've been watching their landscape literally and drastically change in the last year and a half. 2020 towards the end, and 2021. And I'm talking, well, let me tell you about Moosejaw first. We'll get more people here. Moosejaw, Saskatchewan, 65 kilometers from Regina, Saskatchewan. And Moosejaw, well, Al Capone used to go hang out there when they were looking for him, because it used to be part of the Chicago rail line going to Moosejaw, Saskatchewan. So in Prohibition, he used to hang out. And there's underground tunnels and all sorts of interesting features of Moosejaw, Saskatchewan. Now, back in Capone's day, it was about 30,000 people. And today, it's about 30,000 people, except it's growing kind of fast right now. And it's all since the beginnings of the lockdowns. And I keep talking about this economic hijacking, and where it emanated from. And we know that the economic hijacking is, coming from China. The opportunity was seized in China. And, I talked about last Monday about how we're being taught some Chinese manners. And, they want us to understand where we actually stand in this world. And it's not where we believe we are, according to them, of course. Now, the thing is, as the virus hit in China, I was watching the very first cases, guys. So I was there right at the very beginning. And, by the time we were going into lockdown, they were coming out. And business went on as usual. Now they're getting wired in and getting the vaccine, but they haven't got a push like we do here. Because they're all working, life goes on. They quarantine all visitors coming in for 2 weeks. Really, Canada has picked up a lot of the policies from China, like that 2-week quarantine coming in. That originated in China. Australia does it. New Zealand, okay, these Commonwealth countries, but nobody else is doing that. In any case, this couple gets a hold of me. Hey Mo, how are you doing? Debbie, nice to see you. I can't see the rest of everybody there. I can see that there are, but I don't know who they are. In any case, they get a hold of me, and she tells me that there's been some significant movement in Moosejaw, meaning that properties are flipping hands, flipping like pancakes. So she starts winging me off pictures. And this was the end of last week. And I was blown away, in shock, trying to go. Now, the thing is, this is a business person in this, a couple, entrepreneurs, had their own business forever, businesses over the years. They know their landscape very, very well. They know the Chamber of Commerce. They're all involved. Today, we went up and met with them, and the husband chauffeurs us around Moosejaw, and we go to all of these locations, and she made a nice map. This woman has put in a crap load of work into this. Now, everywhere those little, and it's hard to see on here, I know. I'm going to take a better picture of it. And honestly, I'm not here to target anybody. I'm an entrepreneur, okay? I believe in immigration. I believe in entrepreneurship for people that are legitimately investing here in our province, our country. I know lots of people who've moved to other places. I know what it's like to try to do that because I started a little business in Ecuador. I'm 100% sympathetic to the challenges, but this has been within the last year, and we're talking 50 properties. There's 55 on this list. Several were owned previously, but this is all Chinese investment. And it's massive. Now the thing is, she started ringing me off the info on these places, and we started to check them out. And the fact is, some of them have a website. Like for one's a toy store, for example, it says, and it's a house. And they've got a little sign out that it's a toy store. But then it's never open, and then you go to the website and they've got Lego, like one set. But there's no price, there's no way to get in touch, there's no way to order. We stopped at several places today, and I got out of the car and I tried to go in, to no avail. One place out of them was open. The rest some had open signs on, but they were locked tight. Now, this woman's been going in, and people have been going and trying to go to these businesses, and well, not operational, no functionata. And I'm starting to get the picture of what might be going on here. Now again, this is a 30,000 town. And again, the people I was with have no problems with immigrants. Again, entrepreneurship, we do not. What we have a problem with is legitimate or illegitimate. And this is what we want to know, because again, a list of 50 is pretty significant, wouldn't you think? Like, the thing is, in these big cities, you don't notice this. But in a small town like this, you do. And the fact is that they're going for blocks. And they're doing it. And I'm talking blocks. It's significant. In any case, the amount of work this woman has done on this, watching this, and, had lunch with them after. And, well, nobody seems to care where they live. Now, the fact is, a few of these non-operational businesses, which was interesting, the Chamber of Commerce gave a real push at Christmas time. And that was, the woman found that very odd because, of course, well, they're not operational. They're like fronts. Now, what I thought was interesting, so I went looking for some information as to why that would be. Now, when I was doing Airbnb, I had the United Nations in my home. So the fact is, lots of people were immigrating. Again, I had a lot of people coming in from India, a lot of people from China, mostly India though. And I'll tell you, those people really did try to do something here. The worst part was that a lot of them were IT people, and they would show up here. There's just no work for that here. That's in Vancouver and Toronto. So now when I had a few properties going, I would have, immigrants staying longer term in some places. And then I would have like the contractors, the IT contractors from India originally that were flying in from Vancouver and Toronto to do business here, government contracts. And I found it very odd that there didn't seem to be any cohesion. Why were they flying in these guys when they had immigrants here that could do the job and couldn't find gainful employment? So therefore they had to leave. Now, the Indian people from India, they did try to do their term here. I saw that a lot. I dealt with some Chinese as well. The ones that I dealt with personally, they were just here to fill out the paperwork, and they'd fly back when they had to do stuff. But they didn't live here. And that's what I saw. It was interesting. Many were looking for properties. I had many ask me about the farms, again, looking for that sort of investment. But here today, I found this. the Saskatchewan entrepreneur stream, because I want to figure out what it costs here to get this done and to get into the country. So let's flip around here quickly and we'll take a look. Foreigners willing to start a business in Saskatchewan and invest at least $200,000 can immigrate to Canada through the provincial program's entrepreneur stream. The entrepreneur stream of the Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program offers permanent residency in Canada to entrepreneurs wishing to purchase a business or become an active managing partner in a Saskatchewan business. The immigration process under this stream consists of 3 stages: submitting an expression of interest, selection and invitation to apply, getting a nomination from the province. Now, here, to be able to immigrate through this stream, the applicant must meet the following requirements. Score enough points on the points grid. And I think that has to do with all sorts of things like language. Again, I have to go through. I actually did a Saskatchewan nominee program. I was going to help a young man from South Korea Japan, God, it was 15 years ago. Now, have at least $500,000 in net business and personal assets. Intend to invest at least $300,000 in a business in Regina or Saskatoon, or at least $200,000 in a business in other Saskatchewan locations. Have a business management or entrepreneurship experience of at least 3 years in the past 10 years. Provide a business establishment plan, which should meet the following criteria. The ownership of at least 33.3% of equity of the business in Saskatchewan, unless the total investment is $1 million or higher. Creation of at least 2 jobs for permanent residents or citizens of Canada. Well, so you have to have money to come here, for sure. But the fact is, now to buy a property in Moosejaw, house, 250, 200, okay, so it's in their range. And it's less money to go to Moosejaw than to invest it here in Regina or Saskatoon, because as you could see, that was $300,000. So interestingly enough, now the thing is, this is about an operational business though, or that's what I'm getting from this program, is that this is to be a functioning operational business. And I can tell you in Moosejaw, well, 90% of the ones we passed were not. And those were the new ones. So, government of Saskatchewan, I think you have a problem. Because these people need to get on track and start generating. Because right now, when the doors are closed or they're pretending to be open, well, they're not gainful employment, nor are they meeting the criteria here. And I think that it's important that everyone meets the criteria when they immigrate to our country. That looked opportunistic. And if that's a resident and not a member of the city council finding this information out, and the fact that honestly it is so obvious, it looks like they all got together on a container of AstroTurf. I mean, honestly, it was a laugh. Because anyone can recognize that there might be a slight problem there. I think you should go investigate. Instead of focusing on stealing the freedoms of Canadians, let's make sure the people that are usurping our economic opportunities as Canadians are actually complying with what they signed up for. I think it's important. Number 1. Number 2, we've got a huge problem, my friends. We do, and that's gene-edited plants. And this came to my attention on Sunday. Of course, this one is from the National Farmers Union. And it has me wondering whose side they're on. It doesn't look like farmers are ours as consumers, I can tell you that. Take Action, Health Canada, consultation on gene-edited plants. Now this was dated May 20th. Guess when the deadline is? Yesterday, a holiday. We've had a long weekend here in Canada, and we literally, they have a public consultation over a long weekend, and it's not announced until the weekend begins. Well, that tells me they want to shove her in. And this is what's interesting, guys, and it's scary. Okay, I'm going to take you to the important part here. We're going to go to the background. Let's read. Health Canada is holding a public consultation on how it will interpret regulations for gene-edited plants. It is proposing a new interpretation of the drug regulations, the novel food regulations that concern the question, when is a food that was derived from a plant developed through breeding a novel food? And for pre-market assessment of foods derived from genetically engineered plants, referred to as retransformants. The consultation closes Monday, May 24th, 2021. So you can see they really wanted consultation. Clearly, the biotech bullies are doing just that. And just like emergency use on the vaccines and pushing untested products on humanity, here they go with their gene editing. And again, giving zero time for consultation. Canada's approach to regulating biotechnology is triggered by the plant's novelty or newness. Okay, so that's why it's called the Novel Foods Act, and not the technology used to develop the plant. Health Canada's proposal would make major changes. The regulatory guidance that tells Health Canada how to apply the actual regulation. The proposed interpretation would exclude most products of gene editing from regulation and would allow plant developers to sell unregulated gene-edited products without first informing Health Canada or the public. Now, I have experience with novel foods because I worked on legalizing hemp production in Canada, and I had the first certified organic hemp food company in the world here in Saskatchewan. Now, I worked on that, and my job was to make hemp sexy. And I didn't realize that I was part of this fraud, and that was Novel Foods, because they used hemp to bring biotechnology and make it legal and acceptable under the same regulations as hemp. They used hemp as the sexy one, and this one hid out. And then waited for the perfect opportunity to emerge. And that's when the Novel Foods Act came into being. That was 1999. 98? I should remember. In any case, this is what's going on. They are sliding this in because what they're going to do is they're going to redefine novel. In any case, let's go on. Okay, gene editing is a powerful tool. These new genetic technologies allow plant developers to introduce traits that would not be possible using traditional breeding techniques. Health Canada recognizes that plants developed using gene editing technology are different from previously existing plants and produced by means of genetic engineering, but the proposed change would deem many of them non-novel. Who decides what is or what is not novel? The proposed guidance would rely on plant developers to assess whether their gene-edited variety is novel. If a new plant is considered non-novel, there is no requirement to report its existence to Health Canada before putting it on the market. Health Canada proposes to set up a voluntary transparency initiative where companies may inform Health Canada when they plan to put a product they believe is non-novel onto the market. If Health Canada disagrees, the product might have to undergo safety assessment. This would increase cost, so there is a strong incentive to put products on the market without reporting it to the VTI. Well, of course, the biotech guys want that. They don't want to do testing, just like they don't want to test. Well, they're testing the vaccine now on all of us. Well, of course, the ones that refuse to look at the reality of what it is. Now, this is a serious problem because, again, they can actually, now in Canada, we've never had genetically modified foods labeled. Not in the United States either. A lot of people don't understand. In Europe and other places like that, they always had to be, which is why they pushed on us. They introduced these technologies. And of course, fast food is largely genetically modified. Many ingredients, most ingredients today have some element of this. But these gene-edited plants are absolutely scary because, again, these are technologies and they don't really know how this works with humans. And just like GMO soy and introducing genetically modified foods back in 1999, it's an experiment and it's gone, I think, horribly wrong because you can see it in the gut health of our populations here in North America. Our obesity rates are off the charts compared to the rest of the world. And it's largely due to these foods that they don't honor nature. Therefore, they do not honor your natural immunity. They don't honor our natural processes. And of course, now we have a very sickly population. Now, from the time that genetically modified foods started in 1999 and they invaded our market and health food products, which was absolutely insane, it took us years to get them out of the health food store. Although they try to creep in every once in a while. Well, see, that's why they don't want the health food stores anymore, because in the mainstream, they can mix them in. There is a whole thing called the non-GMO project. But I've contacted them about people that I believe are lying on their labels and they've done nothing about it. So again, creating these seals and these other levels. Okay, so now is it going to be non-GMO and this is non-gene edited? We can't keep up with the technology that they're introducing here to us. We can't. And our bodies can't. You see, back in 1999, 1 in 4 people got cancer or would see it in their lifetime. And by 2020, we're talking 3 out of 4 here. This is massive, guys. And these are the foods that were introduced in the last 20 years. And that, well, as far as I'm concerned, have utterly destroyed the health of North Americans. They've watched themselves get bigger and bigger. And it's because their bodies cannot process these foreign substances. That's my belief. And, well, why I never ate GMOs to start. Not even animals that eat them. I'm pretty strict. I always believed that it was important to avoid these. And now with this, gene editing, it's scary. So let's go back. They have no honor. You're right, Carl. They have no honor at all. Because again, these are the biotech bullies and where this stuff started. You've got to see, people think Saskatchewan is all innocent, naive. Oh no, there's all sorts of psychos here, as you can tell. Proposed guidance lacks scientific evidence and transparency. The results of gene editing are not knowable in advance. Scientific knowledge is constantly increasing through a constant process of investigating, testing, and disproving hypotheses, publishing results, and designing new experiments. A regulatory approach that says we don't need to know more before any gene-edited products are put on the market is fundamentally unscientific. To also create a mechanism that allows these products to be marketed without identifying them as being developed through gene editing is the opposite of transparency. Canadian farmers should not be faced with unknown products of gene editing that have not been assessed for safety by Health Canada. Farmers know that when approved crops are rejected by markets, they are the ones who pay the costs. And that is absolutely true. Organic standards prohibit gene editing technology in certified organic production. The proposed guidance, by allowing non-transparent marketing of gene-edited varieties, creates a high risk that certified organic farmers will inadvertently use these prohibited varieties. Transformants, which is genetically modified crops. Health Canada also proposes new regulatory guidance to reduce regulatory requirements for plants with traits or DNA sequences that have previously been reviewed based on an assumption that it is possible for plant developers to make identical changes to the same variety using new technology, or a different variety by using the same technology, and even to a different variety using new technology. They're morphing our sustenance. They're messing with the sustenance of humanity. Okay, so the NFU, National Farmers Union, recommends all gene-edited products should be regulated as novel and therefore subject to government safety assessment and pre-market notification. This would ensure Health Canada maintains its ability to regulate foods derived from gene-edited products in the public interest. It would ensure farmers have access to the information they need to make informed choices about the seed they purchase and the crops they grow. Mandatory reporting prior to marketing would reduce the risk of market rejection due to the presence of gene-edited varieties not acceptable in sensitive markets, including certified organic market. Mandatory pre-market notification would also provide Health Canada with information needed for traceability in the event it needed to carry out its responsibilities and recall the food from gene-edited plants. And here we are. You see, this is how they slide it in. So again, this is a step-by-step. They want all of the regulatory framework for even the GMOs to be gone now. And again, well, that's funny, hemp won't be in there. Maybe they will redefine that. Again, there was never any imminent danger of anything from hemp because actually it wasn't a novel food. It was actually an old food and it had been historically used. In Poland, in Eastern Europe. When I moved here to Saskatchewan, it was interesting because this was the one place in Canada that understood hemp quite well. Here in Manitoba, because a lot of them were from Eastern Europe and they had used hemp oil in their lamps. They had eaten hemp seeds. It was around. So it wasn't foreign like it was here to the Canadians. It is interesting, Carl, because here's the thing, again, this is always sneaky. And again, these are the very same corporations that know darn well that there will be a pushback on it. So what they have to do is ask for a consultation on May 20th at 5 p.m. and then close it on the long weekend holiday just to make sure no one can get their 2 cents in. Now, of course, the National Farmers Union is saying, well, due to the short notice, you should just keep sending your letters in. But again, the consultation is closed. It blows me away. It blows me away. Another thing that blows me away is something you're going to just laugh at because, here we have this new, and of course we're all worried. Again, people in the know are saying, well, this will absolutely change our DNA. It will. Well, the powers that be have offset that because here's the new narrative. Flip around, check this out.
Hijack our cells. In some cases, it can actually alter our DNA. Our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth on what it all means. It all started with patients like Chris Long. After he was hospitalized with COVID in March 2020, the virus just wouldn't go away.
I kept developing pneumonia. So every 3 to 4 weeks, I would end up back in ICU, pumping me full of broad-spectrum antibiotics.
He continued to test positive for the virus again and again and again from March through December, 9 months.
And this was very puzzling to us. And that's why we thought, could it be that the virus gets integrated into the genome?
MIT professor Rudolf Janisch and his colleagues ran some complicated experiments, and they found that in test tubes, our cells can accidentally convert fragments of the coronavirus's RNA into DNA and save that genetic code to the infected cell's hard drive, the chromosomes. This is the kind of thing HIV does intentionally but it's not what scientists would expect from this type of virus.
Will this be with me for the rest of my life, or will this die out?
It really depends how long the cell survives. So most cells die after infection. So those would not very long live and present. But then there might be cells, and we are looking at this, there might be cells, maybe not in the lung, but in other organs, where the cells don't die. This persists for a long time.
The researchers have found indirect evidence of this in a small number of tissues taken from patients, and their study caused a huge stir in the scientific community and a lot of questions. Could these DNA changes explain certain long hauler symptoms or autoimmune disease? Could these changes increase the risk of cancer?
It sounds scary, and maybe it is scary, but I think it's probably just a big nothing for her.
UC San Diego virologist Dr. Davy Smith says, hold on, we still don't have direct evidence of this happening in people. And even if it is, there's a good chance it's not a big deal.
If this is true, then other RNA viruses do this all the time. So every time that I catch an RNA virus that's a cold or another coronavirus, a regular one that normally is running around, then this process is happening already.
He points out about 10% of our entire human genome is made up of the code from ancient viruses passed down through the generations.
So there's precedent for this.
Professor Yanish agrees. This coronavirus probably isn't unique. We're just studying it more closely than any other virus. One thing is for certain. His study is prompting a whole lot more research. Derek Stahl.
What a way to preempt what's going on, huh? Yeah, so in fact, of course, again, they're vaccinating, and they're saying now that, of course, CV can cause perhaps DNA changes. So again, wrapping it all in and coming up with a plausible excuse, just like the fact that people are going down with this shot. I have a friend, again, I knew his dad in Ontario. He got the jab the other day, and he's on social media, and I was just blown away. I honestly didn't think he was the type that would go out and get it, but I was wrong. And the fact is, on his feed, there was a whole bunch of people that I knew from Toronto, buddies of his, and used to be mine, but before all this started, and I had to say goodbye, but there they were. And he was like, wow, got the Pfizer, and I was just, it beat the shit out of me. And all his friends are going on cheering about how, yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I did this. Oh, it was really wicked for me. And it's like a matter of course, a matter of conversation. It was very strange to me. But then 2 days later, he gets back on there and he puts a picture. And on his arm, he had where he said were scars. They were this color. This one, he had a blob like this. Literally this color. And he said anywhere he'd had a scar, it has lit up like this. And his friends, guess what they say? Women love men with scars. Not one of his friends suggested that he get medical attention or report this adverse reaction. I found that very interesting because I have to say there was about 50, 60 comments. And they were all, good boy. Yeah, good for you getting sick. Ah, take it like a man. Honestly, it's like the most toxic masculinity I've ever seen. In any case, it drove me crazy. Fernand, nice to see you. Bruno, Lisa, Lorna, Carl, Amber, Regiane, Maria, nice to see you. Dan, Gordon, Gary. Yeah, we've got some serious stuff going down here. In Saskatchewan, again, Moosejaw was an eye-opener, watching literally 45 to 50 businesses that have now emerged. Chinese. Again, they don't look particularly legit. But I'm hoping that maybe the government gets on it and checks it out and makes sure that, people that are coming to the country and investing in businesses and doing this are legit, because it's important that they're on the same playing field as the rest of us. That's how it has to be done. Nobody has problems with immigrants. Again, our country is built on them. I'm Italian French, so my original relatives aren't from here either. Big agriculture and food processing. Corporations don't need to purchase farmland to control the supply chains. It's much easier for them to patent and control the technology and seed farmers. They need to run their operations. Funny enough, when I started in the hemp business, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Like nothing. I'm like the fake it until you make it kind of girl. So the first year I had a partner, and we had a little warehouse space, and we were sharing it with a hemp seed company that had been put together called Generation X. And well, one of the guys that was the founder of that, they were invested in this variety of hemp called Fin 314. It was from Finland. Jace Calloway, he was the breeder. And well, I really liked this particular variety. They named it Finola at the end of the day, and it was a short-growing hemp variety. Now, the problem with hemp was the harvest. Those tall varieties, really difficult for farmers to get, to prepare for. It was hard on the equipment. You've got like a lot of tar, resin and stuff like that. So again, hemp actually isn't as easy and resilient as, well, people in the hemp industry were telling everybody. Because I was one of those marketers, and I was just repeating what I was told. And it wasn't until I actually embarked on a company and I dealt with growers that I realized the realities of hemp. When we had the warehouse, Jace Calloway got very angry with me because I was talking, I was very clear I wanted to specialize in this particular variety. Number one, it made the best oil. It was the tastiest. Number two, it had the highest GLA, more than double the gamma-linolenic acid of normal hemp varieties. The GLA is, for women, it's the essential fatty acid. Of course, it aids in beauty and skin and all of that, but it's also awesome for hormones. And again, for women achieving this balance, especially menopausal women. It was funny because I was marketing to the menopausal women when I was way before that. He got really pissed at me because I was marketing Finola. And well, we were buying that seed, but he said I had to pay him money to be able to market it. I ended up telling him to piss off, and I did it anyway. But this is the kind of thing that I firsthand learning about this seed greed, I call. And it is seed greed. Now, Gen X, what they did, this is so funny. Well, their guy, the young one, he didn't really get business. He was stoned a lot. In any case, he was selling the planting seed, the registered seed, to growers. And he sold it to a guy who turned out to be a competitor because he walked in the warehouse and he stole it. So he got his hands on the registered, and then he started cultivating. And again, seed greed. This was my first absolute experience with this ownership. Now, as well, I did things with Kamut, and as much as I love Kamut, it was an organic, ancient variety. And the guy who started it all had it trademarked, and again, his variety registered. So what this means is that the farmer can never grow that seed again. Usually in the old days, or with any normal crop, they can hold back enough seed to plant the next year. But not with these varieties. And even on the organic side, there's that. So again, this is all about ownership, ownership, ownership. There's no more common law on the seeds. And that was always the way it was. So again, these are difficulties. Cells don't die. Caught that in the small quip on the video. Yeah. It is a zombie apocalypse. It's bad. You see, whatever comes up right now, they're just manipulating. This is just nothing but media responding to the concerns and lacing it into the day's activities. And that's what it's all about. And they're going to make sure that every injury is a COVID injury. And then the DNA problem is from the COVID. And again, they're going to get people's brains so scrambled that they don't know if they're coming or going. This is the idea of right now. It truly is. Like in Moosejaw, people are staying home, adhering to the measures, and, you know, they come out and all of a sudden the town's bought up. Blocks and blocks. Now, of course, I've seen this in Vancouver and other places over the years. And again, I don't fault entrepreneurs. You take it and go with it. Like, this is what we are. But it didn't look so legit. I used to see that in Vancouver. And it was interesting. I told the people today, there was this pizza place I would pass all the time. And I swear to God, that pizza was sitting there for 3 years. There was never anybody in the place. It was always empty. Doors were always locked, but it looked like it might be an operational business. And people that passed by just knew it wasn't. And that's what happened. So it's interesting. We're in a time where, again, they're making it up. They're faking it till they make it. And again, there's a zillion experts out there that are so compartmentalized that they can literally, again, not lie, but speak to their speciality and have it work within their program. And the program of the New Order that's going to convince us that we're going to die if we don't get this. They want to edit everything. And this is all about gene editing. And now you can see they're going for the food and gave no time for consultation. Zero, zip, nada. And again, the public. You see, we're stakeholders in it all too. But our politicians haven't mentioned any of this. It's all distraction. And it's all to benefit biotech. The biotech bullies. Because they get their way here. They do. They have a lot of money invested. It's pretty scary. In any case, I thought I'll just do a short one today and say hello back from the weekend. Working on Not a Mask. Got my marooned dreams on today. I don't wear this one much as a Not a Mask. I don't wear the Not a Mask much in operation. They're usually around my neck. This one's a little heavier, as you can see. It's got a little more body. It's chiffon still, but it's not quite as breathable. People are ordering it, and I'm like, yeah, you want to think about that. I hope you guys have a good day. Oh, Carl, yes. Distractions at the speed of light while they're setting up in front of everyone's eyes. It's all right there. All we have to do is go around and look. But what we've become is like, people here have become like this. And in the conversation I had in Moosejaw today, it was also about the fact that we're talking about Chinese investment. And no one wants to say a word because they don't want to be called a racist. And that's just ridiculously sad. Distractions at the speed of light. There we are. Pretty easy for them now. Most people don't even see the 1,000 red flags in front of them. They don't. They don't see the red flags. They don't see that their landscape right in front of their very eyes is changing. They are absolutely unaware. I don't know. Maybe it's that I travel so much and then I walk a lot. When you're walking, you notice a lot. But again, these people, like they've seen their landscape change dramatically in a year and a half. And again, this is from when all of this nonsense started. And Canadians are being, well, to me, we're not on the same level playing ground right now. In fact, the foreigners have a distinct advantage because they're not enduring the same conditions we are. So while they take from us, our government, in all of these measures, the inability to do our jobs like we did before, they're coming in for the scoop and they're doing it. And again, opportunity is just that. I believe in opportunity. But again, it should be equal for all of us. And I believe that this virus was created just for this very thing, knowing that the world would be completely disrupted because, well, they did it themselves. Now, of course, those Chinese people, that's not their fault. But they sure knew there was an opportunity. And how much is the CCP involved? That's what I'd like to know. Chinese Communist Party. Because they would be. I know that, well, there's a landlord group here, I've said right from the beginning, is a little front just to watch what is going on in the action and in the purchasing. And again, in a bigger city, it's harder. But in these small towns, it's pretty profound. And again, all you have to do is look. Just everybody's afraid to open their mouth because they are afraid that somebody's going to call them a racist. Well, I don't give a shit because I'm not a racist. Like under a spell. They are. It's a spell of dystopia. You've got to break the spell. But unfortunately, once they get this, it'll be pretty hard to break it at that point because they're already beginning the integration. And this is truly an integration. A dulling down. And they've been doing it again for these genetically modified foods for 20 years. It has literally dulled and destroyed the gut bacteria of so many people. And this is our instincts. And this is why so many people fall under the spell of suggestion. The continued narrative in their ear day in and day out. They don't know how to tune it out. And that is ultimately sad because, again, a lot of us, Carl, all of us watching, we probably make our own news. Like we have our own playlists that we listen to. We've been out of this for quite some time. I find most people that are where we are at have, again, divested from mainstream programming a long time ago. I still watch it so I can teach people about the propaganda. But I need to know what they're saying. But again, people don't understand what's hit them. And now we've got radio frequencies. Now this one was, I'm trying to find that video. It was mainstream news. And that diplomats, starting in 2017, they were targeting US diplomats with radio frequencies. Starting 2017. I'm going to find that video. I watched it the other night and I can't find it now. In any case, I got it. But this is what's going on. There's more to all of this, and there are layers of this biological warfare to come. The mask, the invisible virus, and the actual vax are a masterpiece of distraction and division agenda while they are setting up the scoop. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And it's a scoop, all right. 45, 50 businesses in a year and a half. Okay, and again, they were houses. They weren't businesses, and now they've just plopped up the sign and got the container of AstroTurf. It was pretty funny because they've all got these little patches. Like it's like they got the box that says, invest in Saskatchewan. This is what you'll need. Turnkey. And all the accoutrement, except they're never open. All they need to do is open and actually generate business. But those businesses, like one place had 5 dresses in the window, but then you go into the window and it's totally blank. There's nothing else in the store. We've got a website that sells nothing. Another place, it was a vitamin store, they said. There's 5 bottles of Jameson's vitamin C there, and then the rest of the whole place is absolutely empty. It had a bunch of like bar furniture, it looked like. But again, a few things on the shelf to kind of make it look good. But they're not. They're not legit. It's crazy. Again, how obvious. And why isn't anybody checking up on that? But again, it's like I feel like our government, do we have a threat of further biological warfare hanging or looming over us? Is this why they're just letting them do what they want? Now, of course, Chinese have bought 2 nursing homes in Moosejaw, I just found out as well. Remember, a lot of people don't. This was in 2019, October. Anbang Insurance out of China bought 26 nursing homes in Canada. It went into Parliament. Rona Ambrose and Justin Trudeau sparring. And that's when I went, they're all in on it, because it was pretend sparring. In any case, it gets brushed under the carpet. 2-3 months later, guess who acquires it? The CCP government. Chinese government owns 26 nursing homes in Canada because I'm Buying Insurance went belly up. And they owned a crap load of properties in the States. Do people in the United States know that the CCP government has like assumed ownership of those? They don't. I hear a lot of people talking about how the United States, like somebody yesterday, they think that it's turning. And again, this is all the propaganda wherever you are, what you're listening to. But no, they're in the funnel just like us. They just have to do it different there. Or they will have civil war, and they know it. Those red states are going to hang tight for quite a while, and they're going to see a transition in the blue states. But we don't know what's to come. And according to the 2 sessions, there's a second session coming our way. The vaccine is causing a whole lot of division. It's very sad. Again, seeing it with friends and their families. And all we can do is let people on the journey that they were destined. Because it's not my place to step in front of someone else. All I can do is arm them with the knowledge. And at this point, I've actually moved beyond that because I'm not. I have been warning people for over a year about what's to come. And if they haven't gotten the program, or again, they will not dig in and do further research and are absolutely determined to fit in with the Joneses, that's all you can do. Give them your blessing. That's all you can do. Once the small businesses are fully gone, the big corps like Costco, Walmart, and others will have the monopoly and require the QR code from the Vax Passport in order to get service. Yes! One way. Or maybe shut this down. Reopen your business, everyone. I can tell you that one place, Carl, here was honoring a mask exemption, and they were targeted. This is what's happening. I know one woman has an organic store, and her own customers are targeting her. And she has an auto mask, but again, nobody I deal with wants to wear these things. They'll do it because this is better. But honestly, that's not my crowd. My crowd is the we don't want to cover our face crowd. This is why I've been telling people too that places like Mexico, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, El Salvador, all of those are going to be better than, see, they're hitting the West and the industrialized with this first. And we're going to get the brunt of it because down there, the food systems, again, they all deal, their food is sold on the street, in the back of trucks. They have little bells that go by, and then you know that the vegetable truck is coming by. This is their food system. Where us, we don't have as much of these small markets. We don't. And those are the places that, again, to incorporate delivery and all of those aspects is difficult. They want us all in the hands of the big guys. This is the way they need it, because again, that's how they get us to comply. And they insure it. Again, I did work for Garden of Life that got bought up by Nestle, 5 years ago? Well, there won't be any small health food stores. I got that message, what was that, 4 years ago? That they'll be gone within, they said the next 5 years, and that was 3 years ago. They knew it. All the stakeholders knew exactly what was coming. They knew exactly what was going to go down. And they know that these small businesses will not be able to make it unless they are extremely specialized. They will be. Eyes without a face. It's the truth. I don't know what to say. You know, every day, honestly, I'm just about at the apathy stage again, and I've been here several times before. I kind of go, what's the point? You put out, you do so much work and put it out there, but again, I feel like I need to move more into the reconciliation of it all. And actually, I felt like this 9 months ago in August, before I took on No Mask Sask. That was my very last ditch effort, because I was pretty sure by August that we were done. And by December again, I knew we were. I start groups, they come in for the kill. The idea is take the platforms. Anybody who doesn't comply won't survive. And unless we see a massive turnaround in the next little while, I don't see a whole lot of help. I don't see... Again, I'm not in the echo chambers of the freedom movement. I'm seeing reality in front of my very eyes. And I'm seeing that here, anyway, in Saskatchewan, very few are even aware. They're just all trucking along like it's going to get better. They're in an echo chamber. And they believe every word of this. All too many. And the ones who don't just won't speak up. I want to keep the peace. Kind of like how Mom told you never to talk politics at dinner. I always talk politics at dinner. That's where you talk about it. But no, this is why. And again, people won't speak up here because, again, they don't want to be called racist. They don't want to, again, no one wants to be called a racist, but pointing out certain significant factors isn't racist. It's just fact. People need to realize that we were where we are because of our choices. Nobody else is to blame. People have all the power to restore a lot of this if they start making the right choices. They do. They only have the power to save themselves. That's the truth. I think it's time, though, that people do recognize and start to realize that, Carl, that if you're not in agreement with this going on here, there's not going to be much of a place for you here. Like the mask, this is a steamroller. But hey, you know, we did a poll last week with CTV, and it was what? Came out to 78% of people didn't want vaccine passports. Well, that's kind of how the mask started. It was about 50-50, but it quickly took a turn, thank God, because I was a little worried there. So it does seem that most people here prefer to not have to prove your status. Sad. I can't believe we're here. But again, with the push of biotechnology, and again with the gene editing now of the crops, pushing it through, again, no consultation, but no years of testing to make sure it's safe to consume. Just like this. They don't want that time, because when this gets out there, and the whole idea with the gene editing of the plants is that those certified organic farmers, okay, they had enough problem with the GMOs, not to mention the spray. It's all about ownership. Greed. For what? They don't care if they're doing inhumanity. They just don't care. And again, I'm starting to lose my... Again, I'm just going, what the hell's the point? Does it matter where the money comes from? Does it matter? Because again, you know what? The one way we could actually get this done tomorrow is if people would divest from BlackRock, Vanguard, Blackstone. That's the way to do this, because they're the ones actually controlling all of this. Those asset managers. And most everyone's pension is wrapped up with them. It's easier to invest with an asset manager, so that's why people do it. It's safer. Well, yeah, it's safer. The thing is, if the money was pulled, they would have no pull. And that's the way it would be, as long as they control the money. And now we've got, of course, sovereign wealth funds of other nations. Saudi, we've got, again, China invested in our countries. This is massive, but we don't own much. Not anymore. They think, the worst part, Carl, is that they think they're protecting the next generation. And they don't realize they're absolutely destroying it. After this experience, do you think any of these kids want to get together and have kids? After quarantines and all of this goes down, it is going to absolutely change how we relate forever. And it's all about making sure that nobody hooks up or procreates, because they don't want humanity our way. They want to control it. And that's transhumanism. And again, the world they're proposing on universal basic income cannot support, what is it, 8 billion people? No, they can't. There's no way in hell. Again, the third world nations will be slower, much slower, because their program is not the same. It's us that are getting hit by this. And again, they want to take out our privilege, or what they see is our privilege. They want to teach us some manners because they think we've had it too good. China said it. The CCP government said it. And they continue to push their soft power. And I think it's more because, wow, the government's just rolling right over. Is there a biological threat? I don't know. But we'll keep researching, and hopefully one day we come up with the truth of it all. We should start burying stuff so that one day they might come across and unearth what actually happened, because we know they're changing the books. They're changing the definitions of everything we know. Everything has become opposite of what we know. Crazy. Our kids will be living hell because of this. Already has begun, and it's going to get worse for them. Absolutely it is, as they integrate too. It's a cultural revolution. I read an article about a guy from the Cultural Revolution in China that had his mom, well, he reported his mom, the kid and his father, and his mom ended up getting taken out of town and shot. He was apologizing to her as an old man, because it was him who got it wrong, listening to the propaganda, and turned against his own family. And of course, we're seeing that here. Now, with this, if it wasn't the mask, now it's the jab. And it's all designed to pull us apart. I mean, I know I'm single. Like, if you've been jabbed, we're not going out. It's true. If you wear a mask, proudly, no, not a chance. That just like slice that category. And that's what it's going to do for people. I can't look at it. This is why I designed this. I can't look at that muzzle. It makes me physically sick to my stomach. So, it's gross. If it wasn't hard enough in the past. And apparently somebody today was telling me too that she had heard people on dating sites like Plenty of Fish and all, Tinder. And there are people now going, if you're not vaxxed and they're in a mask trying to be on a date, what are you, on glue? But apparently that's what's going on. So welcome to 2021 and what they're calling, resilient. The new normal. For losers, because that's what it's designed for. Not for thinking human beings. In any case, everybody, I'm on my way tonight. Just thought I would pop in with that because it was exciting. And we'll be back. And we'll reconcile what's going on in our world. Have a great night.